Drotar?
Yes, I'd just like to make a motion that the city set up a task force to talk about the homeless during the time of the winter months. Especially, that's the focus.
Okay, discussion? Mr. McElhenney?
The topic of homelessness is obviously a key concern around the metro area and around the nation. And I think if the city can provide any leadership in helping to bring parties together to discuss possible ends or solutions to that problem, then I think this is a great suggestion. I don't know what final role the city can play, but I think as long as we can help to bring those parties together and explore what
Bring people together to talk.
I think that's a great idea.
Mr. Johnson?
I certainly agree with that, and I think in this day and age, it's only going to get worse, I think, unfortunately, and I think our city needs to really take the lead in the metro area of being a compassionate city. And Donnie wanted me to tell you that she thinks there's a building over at the high school, the old administration building, would be perfect, but that's not for me to say.
Okay, my only comment, and I'm not anti-homeless and I'm not anti-having a heart. My concern is for the city to become involved in one more project that we may not be able to finance. I would not be against someone from council taking the lead on this as a public type project, an outreach, but without city's money being advanced at this present time. Like right now, and Mr. Flannery can say whatever he wishes, but for us to assign one more city personnel to one more project with the way things have been going, our budget is balanced now, but taking on a project of this magnitude, I think is going to be full-time plus. That is a major concern for me. Not that I don't want to see the people off the streets on nights like this, but at this present time, I'm not sure the city, what do we give up? What is the exchange rate for this? If we're out there and we want to give up another project or another section to do this, then fine, but it's not. We don't have the same capability of Washington of just printing up money and giving people money. So if this were to be a private enterprise with a council person on it, I could see no objection. But again, I can see the whole thing's lit up, so I'm going to probably be overruled. Let's start through the list. Mr. Benson.
Well, I agree with you. It's putting up a lot of money, but some of that money flows through to municipalities who have projects like this. I think that's one source of money that we could look at. There's a lot of money, a lot of grant money in Washington. And you're starting to talk about helping out disadvantaged people. There's even more money available.
Okay. Ms. Jeter?
My concern with this, I'm very compassionate. I donate heavily. My business donates heavily. I just don't want this to be so attractive that homeless people from other cities and all come, that we take care of them as well. I hope this comes across, people understand. And if there is a homeless shelter bill, I've already heard from people around the high school area that they don't want it there. So I think if that's a chosen site, you're going to have a lot of neighbors around there objecting to that.
Hey, Mr. Lewis?
My concerns is this is just kind of off the top of somebody's head. Why don't we at least have a committee from the city, see if there are other agencies in the community that have this same thing. All we'd be doing is stepping on their toes.
Mr. McElhenney?
I hear a lot of assuming that we're going to go off and build a building. That seems to be the influence. And I think if I heard Ms. Drotar's comments earlier, she has suggested nothing more than this city take a leadership position in facilitating and coordinating a discussion to explore options and put those things on the table. I heard no suggestion of a specific end in mind other than we need to do something. I think there's a big question mark as to what that something should be. So I fully support the idea of us helping to provide that leadership. I think the mayor raises a great point that says we do have a finite resource in city staff and time, and there are a number of important projects. So I would be open to hearing what Ms. Drotar suggests the city's role be. If I've misheard.
Okay, she's next on the list. Ms. Drotar?
Well, you know what? I'm not talking off the top of my head, and I'll put myself out there to anybody. And as far as stepping on anybody's toes, I'd be thrilled if there was anybody's toes out there that I could step on this. So I do take exception to that. And what I am talking about is something very manageable. I'm talking about from only the winter months, from the 1st of October through the end of April, for these emergency times, for families whose last address was right here. And we're talking about maybe 20 families, specifically families. I have given this a great deal of thought, and if any of you would like to sit down and talk to me about it, I'd really love to. In fact, I could take you right out on the street right now. And a city that has our resources that can't manage a conversation with other entities on what the possibilities could be to relieve this great stress, and it really is. And they wouldn't be the same families, the same 20 families, because they move on. They're just in a, I'm sorry to tell a lot of people this, supposing you lost your job for 6 months, I bet you all would lose your houses. I bet there's very few here that if they lost their job for 6 months.
Getting away from that, what action are you looking at from the city?
I made my motion. My motion is that the city provide a time and a place. They don't even need to provide a staff member, though. That would be very nice. Our staff goes to all kinds of stuff. Today I was invited to a meeting that the staff goes to that was just a meeting. So we have to have people talking about this.
So if your motion is that you will start some type of a group and you wish to use the city building for that group?
My motion is that the city sponsor a task force to talk about homelessness and see where we can
But
go.
what does sponsor entail? That's what I'm asking.
The facility,
Okay?
I don't even care if there's a staff person, but that would be very nice. Because the city, gee whiz, we do all kinds of stuff that don't even, I'm not even gonna go there.
Well,
My motion is my motion, that the
No.
city,
But in discussion, all I'm asking for is, what does that mean, sponsor? If sponsor means to open up a building for your group, I think that's wonderful. But is that what you're asking for? Or are you asking for the city to put some financial backing into this? And if so, what do you think that might be?
there is, except a staff person, there would be no budget.
Okay?
I have done most everything I have done without a dime from most anyone.
Okay? So if your motion is just that we open up a room for you, I don't see a problem with that. But if that's, I'm
And
trying to
a
get that.
staff person, so that we appear that we care about this.
I don't,
Once a month,
I
an
think
hour.
that's going to have to be a question that Mr. Flannery's got to, do we have a staff person that we can afford to put in place? I think that would have to be.
But we have the Derby Resource Center. And we have staff people there in the daytime, and they're overburdened.
Mr. Flannery?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think we can find somebody, and I think,
Okay.
there's probably a number of employees that would jump at the volunteer opportunity
Okay.
to look at this.
And that would be fine. I don't have any challenge with